regulars at Lakeshore and the rest of you. We're surely glad you're here today. What a gorgeous, gorgeous day, and thank you for the symphony. Thank you so much, and the Herald Trumpets and our choir and all the folks who have set up, and they were here early and over the weekend getting us ready. Today is a birthday, isn't it? And we actually do have one, Catherine White, who could not be with us. She is one of our oldest parishioners, born on the 4th of July. Her birthday is tomorrow, and we probably have others, but it is a nation's birthday celebration. And so I have a birthday story for you. Last fall in Charlotte, North Carolina, a couple, Jamie and Joe Walker, who have 4 children already, great jobs, big house, adopted 2 boys from the Sierra Leone. You know that name? It provokes fear and trembling in the world of what transpired there. And these 2 boys had become parentless, and then were in an orphanage, and then were homeless. And Joe had a friend running an orphanage there. And so what he did is he went over and he met these boys, and he started a relationship with them. Kind of amazing story. But then he kept up with them, and he was decided that he would go back and tell his family about them. And all 4 children said, "Dad, let's bring them here." And so they did. And so they joined and came to America. And my goodness, what an eye-opening. Can you imagine? These boys were homeless in Sierra Leone. And they come to America. And the first thing the youngest said when he saw the house and they drove up, he said, "I have gone to the first heaven." He meant it literally. This young boy had no idea that what we live is possible. We take it for granted. These children take nothing for granted. And the magic and the spills and the surprises just keep coming. They're boys, right? So they love everything. They love the automatic car wash. They just sit in the car. They love it. They love the automatic dishwasher. They'll sit and listen to it. They are mesmerized about the amount of produce at their local Publix. They stand and almost cry. Nothing escapes the wonder in our lives for them. They see it all. I have to tell you, thinking about those boys, it made me wonder about my own level or lack of it, of wonder and awe. Well, if that's not good enough, one more thing about the boys. A few weeks ago, the family decided to celebrate the youngest boy, his name is Abraham's birthday. He's turning 12. And so they made this massive cake, and all 6 in the family showed up and surprised him in the living room. This huge cake with this massive amount of candles. And then they all started singing our traditional song. And he stood up and his mouth opened. And he started crying. And then as they sang, he went from crying to wailing to literally down on his knees, coming apart. Well, when they finished, they waited for him to collect himself. And he stood up and he said, "What I believe is this is not a birthday cake, it is a blessing cake." You see, he had never had a cake. He had never had a birthday party. He had no idea when he was born. He had never had anybody talk about it or celebrate it. And he was completely blown away when they did so much about him to celebrate his life. But don't miss it, to celebrate his existence, that he mattered. He mattered. He never mattered before. And now he mattered. Maybe on our nation's birthday this morning, you'll let that story bury deep inside you like it's buried deep inside me now. Maybe we can see through the eyes of this young boy who's come to this country and sees so much. And maybe we can decide right now, and I'm not kidding, right now that this is not merely a birthday celebration, it is a blessing celebration for us and for the world. Have we gotten so stultified by life that we don't see that? Maybe we need to claim and reclaim always on this occasion what the incredible freedom is that we share. It is boundless. The beacon that we are. People look to come here still. They still want to be with us because they see an extensive freedom that does not exist. It may exist in some places, surely, but not the way we want it. And no one sees a civil constitution that claims boldly that each and one of us is honored. Each and one of us is celebrated by equality, and pray God in the future more equity. That our existence is honored because each of us, each of you, each of everybody matters. It is that or it is nothing. You get that, don't you? It is that or it is nothing. In human history, has any state ever tried to make this claim? Ever? Ever? And then tried with extreme difficulty. Surely with argument and nasty words sometimes, heated debates to make the claim a reality. No, I don't think so. And I bet you don't think so either. And when many of you have served, we have an ambassador, we have people who serve the government here, people have served in foreign service away. You have the experience of seeing it from another perspective. Remember, today we are 246 years of effort to make this right. That's what we're always doing. And we live and walk and live and breathe because of those who believed before us. You are not here to hear a political talk, and that is not what I'm giving you. I hope this is spiritual. Because we come here, and when Christians gather, people of faith gather, wherever they gather in the United States, we come to see how our spiritual lives intersect our public life. It is always part of the walk. It's always part of what we're trying to do. And remember that every part of life has a spiritual dimension, and it's usually last on the list. And I agree, to be honest, with the voices of many smart and thoughtful writers of today. One I tried to get preach is our former mayor, our former governor of the state, has written a book about this topic. And that actually the people I read cross the spiritual divide and cross the political divide like you can't imagine. And they all say one thing together. And so I'm going to say it in the words of a former college president and U.S. Senator Ben Sasse, who wrote these words: "We have lost faith in one another. We have lost faith in one another." Maybe you have not. Maybe. But so many voices around us have. Those voices are loud. They are penetrating. They are relentless. We're having an extremely hard time these days, aren't we, appreciating anyone who is not like us. And don't miss it, there is nobody like you. You're an individual. Everybody is different than we are. And that attitude is found on the left and the right and in the center. It exists everywhere, it seems. But also don't miss that we're here to say something different, that we can change, we can improve, we can overcome any attitude that we have found ourselves in. And maybe we need a lot less rhetoric, just a thought, maybe even mine included, and a lot more action. I'll give a perfect example. If you notice one of our television stations, and I'm not picking them out, we've got great television stations in town, that WBIR does a great thing several times during the week, and it's simply titled Service and Sacrifice. Ever watched it? At first they started with military people and people in service around the world and bigger stories and historical stories of World War II and Vietnam, and now they're going deeper into our fabric, where we live and move and have our being, in this community of people doing simple things to serve and sacrifice for others. I think they're on the right track, because there are endless ways to do that. You don't need anybody to coach you. None. None of us need that. All we need to do is be committed to serve and to find ways to sacrificially give our time and energy, and yes, our money if need be, to not talk but to begin to walk again. And many of you do walk, I know. Maybe we're going to have to walk more to help people around us, and maybe even, why don't you pick somebody who is not like you to help? Not like you, doesn't agree with you to help. BIR makes no mention of whether people like the people they help or agree with them. They just help. You see, something that simple, and I bet you can think of 1,000 other things today, and I hope you'll think of these. Put them into practice. Preach them. Give them to your family. Teach them to our children, for goodness sakes. Maybe we can slow down this relational dyspepsia and turn it into something a bit more pleasant. Something, again, that turns us like what you just heard. What could we play better than Copland's Symphony for the Common Man and Woman? What could be better for this day? That we return to a renewed sense of community, and community good and community decency. You know, there is no problem that cannot be bettered. No problem. Every problem can be bettered. It's the rule of life. If you don't know it, adopt it now. Your life will improve. And our jobs as Americans is not to build a perfect nation. That is not what we're about. We've never been on that mission. We've been on the mission to put our character and our faith into building a more perfect union. Look back in history. How many times have we been where we are? Countless. You know that. I know that. The dismal voices around us say we've never been here. Oh, we've been here. And in times, it's more frightening than where we are now. Look at the Great Depression. I want you to hear the simple words of the president at that time. He urged the nation, our only limit to realizing tomorrow is our doubt in today. May we return and move forward with a strong and more active faith. Sound timely? Or go more back into history, the worst period of ever for us, a civil war where brother and sister and mother and father were divided in ways we cannot imagine, families divided, country divided, at war. President Lincoln proclaimed his faith at that time, in the middle of all of it, not at the end, that the government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from this earth. You know something? He was right. Do you get that? He was right. I'm going to quote our senior warden, George Badur, who says, during COVID and all the things we've been through, look at what St. John's has been through. You may be in a faith community who's done the same. Look how many things we've survived, not only survived, but thrived. It's true. It is there. George is right. Those presidents from old were right. If we can find and follow more positive voices and find that voice in us, then we will be right in our day. It is about that simple. And we are so blessed. We are so blessed. It is not a mere birthday celebration. Today, it is a blessing day for us, and don't miss it, for the world. America matters in the world. So let us pray today when we say our prayers, that God will continue to bless us, of course, but to bless the United States of America. Happy 4th of July to each of you. Amen.
Amen.